Well, welcome to this segment of Straight Talk. Today, I am with a gentleman. His name is Reza, and I'm about to butcher the last name. It's Keshavarzi.
We said
Reza,
we'll have fun, Jeff. We didn't say we're going to butcher it, but it's okay.
welcome to Straight Talk. Tell us how to pronounce your name the proper way.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks for having me. My name is Reza Keshavarzi. So yeah, he's very close.
That
Almost
sounds
there.
so much better than my attempt. But anyway, cultures and names are cool, and it's nice to talk to you today. It looks like you're in a paradise setting. There's some nice trees behind you or something. Where are you at?
I'm in Tulum right now. So spending some time here during,
Tulum. That's
COVID
where yeah, I've been there.
in
I've been to the ruins
Cancun.
there.
It's
Yeah.
yeah, it's the ruins. Yeah, I haven't got out of my hotel,
Well,
it's part of being in business. But I'll get to the ruins at some point.
yeah. Well, Reza, I'm glad you're on a little vacation and you're able to enjoy the sunshine there, and even if it is in your hotel balcony or whatever. But thanks for joining us today. We want to get to know you a little bit. You're an ISSA member
Yes,
company. You're the founder and CEO of Tulu.
correct.
That's a unique name, Tulu. Tell us about yourself, your background briefly, and what Tulu is all about.
Tulu is actually in Persian. It and it means sunrise and new way. And for us, we think that as a company, what we're doing is really, you know, it doesn't matter what area you're in. I think just doing things in an innovative and new way is crucial. That's part of the DNA of our company, and it starts from the name and it goes across to every individual that's in the company. So a bit of background about myself. I am a PhD and Harvard Fellow in engineering, and I turned into business, and I love doing business. Um, and so we started this company off the basis of the idea that to bring more transparency and more oversight when it comes down to remote work. So currently, in order to supervise and have oversight over people, it's a very expensive process. Companies are really, struggling with the idea. We've, we've been in the cleaning space for quite a while. We have, been in the industry for 4 years, but more or less we're trying to achieve high level, and particularly in cleaning today, because it's very crucial, is how do we provide, A, the right protocols, but also B, how do we provide the right remote supervision and oversight on the people that are doing the work, and how do we empower them to do a better job as a
Okay.
company?
Okay, that's cool. So that's what Tulu is all about, to provide that type of support. I imagine software development and programs like to support what you just mentioned. Um, let's talk
Correct.
about let's talk about today. What's going on today, and the cleaning and sanitizing and disinfecting we see, how that's changed during COVID-19. What are your thoughts on that, and how can Tulu help companies to deal with those challenges?
Yeah, look, I think there's two things that's happening today in the space. And the first is, there's a series of new protocols coming out, and most of them existed previously in a lot of industries. What's really happened was what was norm in certain industries like the food and the pharmaceutical industry has become a little bit more widespread, and what people call advanced cleaning, right? So we're entering a phase where it's become an expectation that it's a hybrid of doing sanitization and disinfection services and cleaning. We're taking a hybrid of that where it's commercially viable. It makes sense, but it incredibly de-risks your environment and space. And the first trend that we're seeing is this enhanced cleaning movement. What's interesting in that space is that there's lots of people writing protocols and lots of guidelines. Most companies, what we've seen is that most of the larger companies have invested some time and effort and money to build their own protocols for what's very suited for them. And those protocols are taken away from what some of the leading experts in the field, whether it be CDC guidelines or some of the other guys in the space. It comes from that, and people are really playing with that space. That's the first thing that's we're seeing. But the second trend that we're seeing today, and this is this is particularly really interesting because I've seen the transition, having been in the space for 4 years, is that cleaning usually sat in operational and procurement within companies.
Mhm.
And what's happening, and it's always a point of customer support, particularly when you look at certain industries like hotels and those spaces. It was always part of customer support, but it's made a really radical movement towards something that is, whether you have your patrons coming in or your staff coming in, or whether you have your customers coming into a space. It's become an exercise of confidence, and that's how it's linked to customer support. And it's taken a much more intensive role in customer support. So the two high level things that we're seeing is those two. Now, traditionally, cleaning, the way people dealt with cleaning, there's always been issues with cleaning within companies. It's one of those things that no one really wants to deal with, but at the same time, it's so at the forefront of the experience that people get from your space and environment, that it's always been crucial. Whether you have fleet of vehicles or a hotel or whatever it is, it's really crucial. But one of the trends that we're seeing in addition to that is that previously these cleaning companies, or the companies, how they dealt with cleaning issues was always, it sat in procurement, which meant that there was high churn. They used to churn through these cleaning companies quite regularly. They would do random audits. That's how they dealt with that side of it. Companies are in a position right now where they can't risk that anymore. They want to ensure that whatever they're doing is right, and they can communicate that to the customers. Now, the second part of what I just mentioned is communicating that to customers is something that no one's really had to think of. You kind of always go to a hotel and they've always said this place is clean and sanitized and that's it. And what customers or the end people are saying, and consumers or staff are saying, is that they're asking for a little bit more transparency in that space. So those are the trends that we're seeing in the space, but it's exciting times.
So you're exactly right. I love the concepts you just shared with us. When you go to a building and you assume that they have someone doing the cleaning, there's a schedule that it gets done. Now we need to know what's happening. So tell us about that. How can cleaning companies or those working in facilities, whether it's a cleaning company like a contractor or someone in a facility doing it in-house, to communicate that they're doing what they need to do for visitors and other workers to be safe?
Yeah, we've done a range of research in this space, and we've it's something that as a company, we've been providing tech solutions in this space. But from a broader perspective, I mean, just to add on that, Jeff, and identify the cruciality of this, is that one of the other points that is making this even more difficult today is that cleaning used to sit within cleaning companies, right? If you look at today, in the past 3 months, the amount of people that just extended their services into cleaning and sanitization is enormous. We have a lot of people that are completely in different spaces, but because this is where a lot of contracts are sitting, they're shifting towards this, which means that traditional distrust with cleaning companies has even been expanded even more, right? Because then you've now there's two elements of it. A, they don't know who's exactly the expertise in this space, and who knows exactly what they're doing. So the first thing is to, the first thing that's required is to show proof of expertise, show that you understand the protocols, you've adapted the protocols, and you're taking the right measures. But the second thing is that as we mentioned previously, the second point, which is really crucial, and no one's had to really think about it to this detail, is how do you go and communicate it to the end customer, right? And those two are two different problems, and I think anyone who's in the cleaning space, it's good to think about both those things at the same time, because the second really is coming through as a from the ground, and that's what customers are requesting. And the first one is really, in order to really get your foot through the door, that's what these companies are baffled with in terms of decision making. There's a lot more options out there, and it's kind of hard to distinguish between let's say a moving company that's moved and shifted to cleaning sanitization, how much experience and expertise that they've had in the space. So what we do as a company is that, you know, we're trying to help people on both fronts, and some of the solutions, you know, and we've done an extensive research on both ends. So on providing, you know, expertise that you are, and, you know, proof of expertise, you know, it's really important to keep the protocols in there, show that you are following protocols, and show what have you done to, you know, enhance those protocols and adhere to them is really important. We've seen a lot of the really successful companies work with third parties because there's, again, such an enormous amount of distrust. It's working with third party software companies or apps that can provide cleaner transparency to companies, and that could be transparency on who's been trained, how they've been trained, all the way to you know, as we mentioned, the protocols and you know, advancing those. And the second element is, you know, the getting down to the customer, right? We've always been to that hotel, and the interesting thing is that it doesn't matter how much you pay for a hotel. And that's just one example. This goes to commercial real estate, and there's examples in other spaces. But it doesn't matter how much you pay for a hotel and how many stars it is. You always go in thinking last minute whether the bed sheets, you know, and that's what, you know, people are communicating the protocols, but then people are worried whether it's actually been done or not. And we've always been worried whether, you know, whether sheets have actually been changed, whether that, you know, the bench top in the bathroom has actually been wiped. We've always had that concern, and that concern, you just extrapolate that, and that goes across so many industries and so many spaces. So it's really the difficulty here is that how do you communicate that transparency to your end customer and people? And so we've experimented, and there's some information on our website, but I'll touch on some of the things that we've seen which were really successful. You know, again, going beyond just communicating the protocols, and we've done this, and doing a PR exercise, that's shown to provide little confidence in the end market, in terms of that being done, because of that underlying distrust that's always been there. And some of the things that we've done is just going above and beyond with transparency, right? Going above and beyond means that we've researched the things that we've seen is, you know, for example, a QR code that, you know, we provide to our companies. And the QR code is, you know, traditionally you would have a sticker just saying this place is clean and sanitized. People have become, you know, people have seen that a lot. And what the QR code does is that it provides transparency on exactly what's going on in this room when we're talking about cleaning sanitization. And those are details like how much time did the person spend, what are the exact, it could be as simple as, you know, clarifying the things that these guys are ticked off on, right? Because a lot of these cleaning protocols are, again, internal, right? They're operational, they're internal pieces of material. But most people really want to know, like, what exactly went on. So the bed sheets changed, these places got wiped. So even if it comes at a basic level, communicating the checklist that's there, we're seeing that being really, really successful in gaining confidence in the end consumer.
So when I walk into a hotel room, I can scan a QR code and I'll see a report.
You see a report of exactly, and that means that you've taken your internal operations and you've made them external, and you've made it transparent to anyone who's walking in to see what exactly went on, right? So we, you know, one of the things that we do is provide video proof and video audit trails, and whether you want to share that externally or not, that's up to you. But you know, it's part of what our software does is that it walks through the exact steps that the person needs to take to follow those protocols, ensures those protocols are met, and we provide an audit trail for that. And that's all embedded in a QR code where the end customer can transparently see what's going on, right? Now, yeah, as I said, whether you do the audit trail or video audit trail, whether you just provide a checklist and you provide that these things are done, it's showing that, you know, you're going above and beyond. And one of the things that's really important, Jeff, is that, you know, like, everyone's saying the same thing, right? And I've been in so many hotels during COVID, and what we're seeing is that, you know, and again, this is just hotels, but it's consistent across so many spaces. I'm staying in a hotel, so I'm thinking of all the examples I could think of for a hotel. But but you see the same message getting across. It's the same message. We're wearing masks, we're using sanitizers, we're doing this one, and people are just, it's just too much noise, and people are not seeing through it because everyone's saying the same thing, right? And whether you're a cleaning company or whether you're a person who's got these environments and these spaces and you want to ensure that it's safe, it's become crucial to be able to differentiate yourself against something that everyone else is doing. And I think any little bit of information and of transparency and taking these internal protocols and communicating them across is we've seen to be incredibly powerful.
I think it's really cool. I'll never look at a QR code the same way again. So
yeah, I never thought people scan QR codes until we saw that people do actually scan codes, and they do want
well,
to see that what's going on.
the whole issue of confidence, you can say as a cleaning company or a facility that you've done the job and that you are in there every night, but to be able to verify it in a unique way like this is really cool. So Reza, with Tulu, it's really cool to catch up with you and hear what you're doing. And I hope all those that see those QR codes start getting their phones out and verifying that they are in a place that's been taken care of.
No, 100%. We have a lot of information, additional information, Jeff. Again, so we've tested and experimented and done research on this space for a long time. So if we could, help any company by any means, then would
You
be
bet.
happy to do it. QR code is one thing, but there's a lot of things that go into it, and we're happy to help.
Yeah. So if someone wants to get more information, what's your website?
It's trytulu.com, TRYTULU.com.
All right. Well, enjoy Tulum and go out into those ruins and watch out for the birds. I heard a bunch of birds, so I know they're around.
People are scared of birds. I love birds, Jeff. So
No, birds are
yeah, I
great.
love birds. So
It's
they
what
can
they might
come
drop on
swing
you.
around. So they're